so here's what we'll try and do. You know, sometimes when I do corporate talks, it's a free-flowing, like the talk I'm going to give tonight, I'm going to speak to the student athletes here. That'll be more like a corporate talk. But today I have a thing I call bullet basketball, which are quick hit thoughts that can either help your players, your team, your staff, or maybe even yourself in your career. So we're going to just jump right into it. You've got tremendous X and O's over the last day and a half. But what I want to try and do, I have 70 bullets prepared. We will not get through them all, I know that. So we'll go until time is up, right? You've got some tremendous X and O's. But now what I want to do is shift your gears a little bit and not stay with the X's and O's, but what I call the ABCs, all right? We used to have a sign in our locker room called the ABCs of success. I've changed it a little bit. The A is for attitude. What attitude do you bring? What attitude do your players bring? What attitude does your staff bring to the practice floor? Most importantly, because that's where you get most of your work done. And then, of course, the game time. Enough said on attitude. Belief. Belief. It is our belief that belief needs two things: trust and truth. Trust and truth. Trust is a combination of three things. In order to develop trust, you need time, consistency, and proof. If we're going to have our players trust us, they need a little bit of time. Like those freshmen need a little bit of time. Because they're in that trust evaluation phase just as you are with them. Can you trust them in the beginning of the game to start? Can you trust them at the end of the game? Right? Time, consistency, and proof. Consistency. Over the course of time, are you the same with what you're telling them, what you're demanding? They can then begin to trust you. Proof. What we tell players in particular, even at our level, is if you say you're going to be somewhere, be there. If you say you're going to do something, do it. Because I know my son, whenever, and he plays at Bradley, whenever his coach says something that directly involves him, he holds him accountable for that. Hey, Jake, you're going to play a little bit more next game. He'll remember that. He may not remember the out-of-bounds play, but he will remember that. So time, consistency, and proof. Now, one thing I'm going to speak on tonight for the student athletes is leadership. Well, in order to be a good leader, you have to you have to deal with the truth. Truth has three components. You got to live it. You got to tell it, and you got to take it. Live it, I think, makes sense. We don't want to be on a team with liars, or play for a staff of liars, right? So living it makes sense. Telling it. Here's the problem that college kids have. I know my son does. He can tell the truth to a lot of the team members. It's a little tougher to his best friend on the team to tell him the truth, especially when they're off the floor. And we think the truth needs to be told the most when they're off the floor. Coaches usually tell the truth to the player like, no, this is the way we do it. That's the truth. No, you screwed up on this. That's the truth. Coaches take care of the truth on the floor, but your players need to take care of the truth off the floor. Right? And you got to be able to take it. However it is in your culture. You have seen our team on the bench was on TV a lot. There are some F-bombs being dropped. We understand it's an emotional game. We've got to take it. All right? Just as importantly as when it's time to tell it, you have to tell it. All right? The C. The C stands for three things. Number one is character. All right? And more importantly, characters. With the Boston Celtics, just like Jeremy Foley talked about today, I don't think they want characters in this program. Nor do we. And you may say, well, gosh, Shaquille O'Neal and Rasheed Wallace, they were characters, but when it came game time, they had character. Right? And you say, well, Rasheed gets all these technical fouls. Well, Doc told him up front, no technicals in the fourth quarter, and no technicals during the opponent's run. Can't happen, because during the run, it extends their run. In the fourth quarter, it it comes crunch time, it hurts us. It gives them free opportunities for points. The second C is chemistry. Jeremy talked about it quite a bit today. We define chemistry in 4 ways. I think we're in 2018. And all 4 of these relationships existed. I'm going to throw them out to see if they exist on your team. Relationship number 1. And each relationship consisted of 3 parts. Right? Relationship number 1. The players liked, trusted, and respected the other players. The players liked, trusted, and respected the other players. That's a long sentence. I'll give you a little time. Number 2, the players liked, trusted, and respected the coaches. That was present. Still is. Number 3, the coaches liked, respected, and trusted the players. And here's the one I think Eric spoke about, Jeremy alluded to this morning. Right? Relationship number 4, the coaches liked, respected, and trusted the other coaches. You see, on our staff, there's no jealousy. Like when Doc asked us if Flip could come in and be a consultant to us during the playoffs, all of us immediately said yes. And some of it for selfish reasons, like myself. I wanted to know what was in Flip's mind. Right? I knew he was going to help us. And he actually more than helped us. Okay? The third C involved there is culture. Culture. Whatever yours is, it is. The only thing I will say to you is what Lawrence Frank taught me when he was with us. He said, make sure whenever there's a breach of culture involving anyone, that the person who hears it must confront it right away. If it's an assistant coach with a player on the sidelines, and he says, man, I don't even know why we're doing it, that sucks. You've got to confront that right away. Because if you don't, then you just affirm to him that you believe it too. Even though it's nonverbal, you believe it, because you didn't correct it. Your culture will maintain itself if A, you don't allow it to get stale. Sometimes when we're at a place so long, we just think the culture runs itself. We're constantly reminding our guys of different cultural things in our program. All right? And you'll hear some of them as we go on. All right, so enough said on those. Now, let's move to I don't know what bullet that is. So whatever it is, it is. Some success ingredients. All right? The first one is for coaches and players, be there before you get there. Be there before you get there. The story I use is Ray Allen. Everyone says, wow, it's unbelievable how he makes all those clutch shots. He's been there before. I'll sometimes in our drills throw him a pass and go 3, 2, 1. So it simulates the buzzer. And on days he allows me to, I'm allowed to say, eh. Right? So he's already been there. You know, your special situations and things that might pop up during the season. Hopefully you've already been there this summer. The best time to prepare for special situations is in the summertime. Your system, you know, maybe it doesn't need as much preparation as it needs tweaking, but there always comes a play, a situation, something going on in the game, and we almost feel like we had to think about the solution right then and there. It's too late. Because chances are emotion's going to become a part of that, and when emotion becomes a part of it, I don't know that it's ever the best decision you can make. All right? Second thing for your young, your freshmen, and probably for your young coaches. If you want to be a success, and I'll hammer this home tonight to the student athletes, 3 things. Show up, shut up, and keep up. Just be there. Be there. Whenever there's something going on at the team, be there. Whenever there's something going on in your profession, be there. For you assistant coaches in here, never say no to a basketball opportunity. You have no idea where it may take you. Long story, extremely short because of time. I'm driving down Interstate 95 in Richmond, Virginia. Get a call from Glenn Wilkes. He says, hey, can you come speak at our clinic? All right? And the caveat is because a really good speaker we had canceled. The other 4 guys we called couldn't make it. Can you? Well, I didn't take that as a knock. Right? I took it as an opportunity. I always say yes immediately. And anyway, he says, you got to be on a flight at 4 o'clock. It was 2 o'clock. So I told my wife what I'm doing, told them where I thought I was going, all right, and went there, spoke. In the crowd, George Rattler. George tells Glenn, we need to have him at 90 over the skills camp. Glenn asks me, I say yes. Go work the skills camp, all right? Then that kind of snowballs into working the Nike teams out. One of the teams I worked out, got River's son, Jeremiah. Okay? Work Jeremiah out. Jeremiah goes home. Couple that with Brendan saying there's a guy, Brendan Sir saying there's a guy, Doc, that you probably at least saw them talk to. His name is Kevin Eastman. Go to Panera. I don't think I said a word. Right? It's amazing how you just ask questions and let that other person talk. They lead that talk and conversation saying, God, I love being around Kevin. He's great at talking. Shit, I didn't say anything. I just asked Doc questions. So what he learned was that I was a learner and that I could get stuff from him. And I think when you show people you can learn, this is to assistant coach, when you show people you're willing to learn, that automatically locks you into probably you're a little bit loyal. You're a little bit loyal because you don't know it all. There's know-it-alls and they don't succeed. And there's learn-it-alls. The learn-it-alls succeed. Eric Spolster going to Oregon football practice. He's a learn-it-all, not a know-it-all. Okay? The next thing I'm going to throw out to you, successful people master the abilities. B-I-L-I-T-I-E-S. They master the abilities. Successful players do it. Successful teams do it. Successful coaches do it. Successful CEOs do it. Successful managers do it. They all do it. The first ability, responsibility. Execute the role you've been given. Responsibility. That's your responsibility. Okay? If you take it even to Coach Dungy's talk, you know, and I can't say I'm the most religious person in the world, but one of the messages was God has a reason for us to be here. It's our responsibility to fulfill that, whatever that may be. Second ability is accountability. We stole this next statement from the New England Patriots and Coach Belichick. Do your job completely. Don't do somebody else's job. Do your job completely. The third ability is dependability. Can we count on you? Dependability. Can we count on you? Rajan Wanda. Can we count on you, Marquise Daniels, in your role with your responsibility? All right? The next ability I've added. All right? I used to have 4, now I have 5. It just kind of dawned on me about a month and a half ago. Sustainability. Can you give it to us, you know, all the time? Sustainability. That's the Kevin Garnett's. That's the Paul Pearsons. That's the Ray Allens. And then the last ability is probably the most important one that Hubie Brown always used to talk about. Availability. Hey, you may be a great player, but if you're always injured, what good are you to our team? You may be an incredibly productive worker in our company, but if you're always sick, and you're always on vacation, and you're never available, right? All right. The next thing, Michael Jordan told me this one time. He said, we were talking about different players and their success, and he said, you know what? A lot of guys don't understand this. He says, success doesn't stop once you get there. Success doesn't stop once you get there. It's a continuous journey. It's a continuous grind. It's a continuous process. It doesn't stop once you get there. You know, sometimes the curse to early success, or the curse to sustained and longevity success, is the cancer of early success. Someone is real successful their freshman year. They think they have arrived. Hey, no one in this room has arrived. I certainly have not. If Doc Rivers was here, he'll tell you he has not arrived. Kevin Garnett will tell you he hasn't arrived. Kobe will tell you he's not arrived. He's just gotten to a certain level, right? And now it's time to see if he can challenge himself to get to another level. So no one has arrived. Doc says this to our rookies. You had a number for the last time in your life. And that was your draft choice. Or with the college guys, their high school ranking. All right? You don't have a number anymore. You got to earn a spot now. Number 1 in the draft. Now you got to earn a spot. His son, number 9 in the draft. No more numbers, man. You got to earn a spot. Okay? So success doesn't stop once you get there. All right. Now, here goes what I call bullet basketball. Number one, young players should understand they get on the floor through the invisible stats. The invisible stats. That's a great way to get on the floor. Charges taken, dives on the floor, the hockey pass, which is a pass that leads to the assist. The invisible stats. See, they have it wrong. They think they're going to get on the floor with the visible stats, the points, the rebounds. Next thing, I really believe this, and if you think about it, I think you'll agree. For the most part, coaching is done in the offices and on the floor. But leadership takes place in the locker room. Coaching takes place in the offices as we plan our system. On the floor as we implement our system. But true leadership with any type of team takes place in the locker room. Okay? I'll talk to the student athletes about this in the leadership segment tonight. There are many venues for leadership. I'm not going to go through all of them. Everyone thinks that the most important leadership takes place on the floor. No, pretty much the coaches can handle that. The most important venues for leadership for a team are the locker room, the apartment, in our case, the homes, the hotels, the restaurants. Okay? Because that's when sometimes we have a challenge of the culture and flat out breaches of the culture. Okay? Next thing, next bullet. And if you're saying, well, they're not in this logical order like they normally have. True. Right? Knowledge is quickness. Think about that now. That gets to scouting reports. That gets to the importance of scouting. Because we know what's going to happen. We might be a little quicker to react to it. That's why one of the things we tell our players defensively is talking and communication is so important because it gives us a head start with our defense. Hey, Paul's up here, and all of a sudden there's a rip screen coming, and Kevin yells, rip, rip, rip! It gives Paul a head start on the action. We also think, by the way, that talking, if you talk defensively, it intimidates the opponent. Like when you call fist up, and Rondo turns around and tells our team on defense exactly what's going to happen. You know, Rondo's a cocky son of a gun now. He may tell a player on their team, you're supposed to be down there. All right, it intimidates the opponent. Okay? Two things you can't win with. My turn shots. You know that guy said, hey, it's my turn now. No, it's not. It's whoever shot is available that's a good shot that possession. It's never your turn. Okay? And the second thing is shooting turnovers. And we will chart this from time to time. It's the ill-timed shot. It's a player who shoots it who shouldn't be shooting it. Okay? I don't have time for the story, so I'm going to move on. Next one. Ask your players, are you a don't-know player or a don't-care player? And I hope, like anything, it's a don't-know player. Because then it falls back on us to make sure he does know. If it's a don't care, you've probably got some decisions to make. Same thing with an employee in a business. All right? Now, hey, by the way, evaluate yourself every year, a couple times a year. And it gets to what I'm going to do now. I haven't said like a bad word, but sometimes I used to always do that. Because I'm from Jersey. And what I do every year is I self-evaluate twice a year on a yellow legal pad. The things I need to improve on and the things I'm good at that I need to keep doing. Right? One of the things I always put down there is stop using the F word. Okay? But when you're from Jersey, it's better than a comma. All right? So I'm trying to get at it. So I'm going to say a dirty word right now, but it just makes sense. All right? When the shit hits the fan, what do? Boy, that came out natural. That's the bad part. When the shit hits the fan, what do? Most people clean up the shit. Turn the fan on. Turn the fan on. Okay? Turn the fan on. When there's stuff going on in your locker room, don't just get to the guys who are doing it because of what this guy started. Get to the guy who started it. Okay? Next thing, 3 musts of coaching. You must be ready to put out fires. You must be ready to in their tank, put out fires, put gas in their tank, and you must be able to refocus the lens. Those are just reminders. I don't think I have to explain them. Now, pressure was mentioned a couple of times. Tony Dungy was asked about it. Some other guys alluded to it, Eric. Here's what we think. Right? Here's what I think, and then I turn it into what we think. Preparation trumps pressure. If I came out here unprepared and was stumbling all over my words, I would be pressure-filled, and you would know it. So preparation trumps pressure. You're going into Game 7, or that must-win in the tournament. All right? If you can get your guys to understand that if we prepare well, then pressure's out of the equation. Then it's just, do we play the way we want to play? And if we do, we'll take our chances. Next bullet. Are you a team of get or a team of give? A team of get or a team of give? I hope, and I know we're a team of give. If someone's open, we throw it to them. If someone's doing a great job rebounding, we pat them on the back for that. If someone's executing their role, which may simply be just sprinting the floor or keeping the defender occupied, all right, we give to them. Next bullet. I'm just going to get you to think about this. Especially you young guys, have a core philosophy that can withstand failure. Okay? That gets back to you believe in what you do strong enough that even if you go through some failures, you may tweak it, but at the core and at the essence of that belief, it's strong. It can overcome failure. It can overcome criticism. It can overcome family members saying, what are you doing? Like Doc's wife. I mean, she gets on Doc. When we were 18 and when we were 24 and 58, you can hear Chris River go, Doc, get him out of there! Right? So it can happen from anyone, from anywhere, at any time. Okay, next bullet. And these are all over the place now. See the action, don't force the action. We have to say that a lot to our team. You know, don't force the action. Let the game tell you what to do. But see the action because we need to see all what's going on. Enough said on that. This is a statement that Doc makes all the time. You know, Mike Longobardi, I think, talked about it first. And if you don't know Mike, he's one of our assistant coaches who's supposed to speak here today. He's a shorter guy. Shorter guy, and probably in his industry would say, oh, well, I don't know if he's an NBA coach. You're right, he's not an NBA coach. He's a hell of an NBA coach. If ever you want to talk defense, no question talk to Tibbs, no question talk to the Van Gundys, no question talk to Eric, but Mike has to be in that discussion too. He really, really knows defense. And he always says, we don't want to be lucky, we want to be good. We don't want to be lucky on our defense. We want to be good. And good will win out over lucky. 3 E's, and it's kind of a formula, if you will. Energy plus effort from everyone. Energy plus effort from everyone. Next bullet. This is a big Docism. Says it quite a lot. Because there's so much going on, even in my son's life, there's so much like stuff and clutter going on. That Doc often says, if we can be clutter-free before practice and before a game, we're going to have a chance to have a good practice every day, and we're going to have a chance to play a good game every night. But we want to be clutter-free. If he reads the team, and the best coaches really read their teams. They read the pulse, and I don't know if I'll get to it, so it's in my head right now. Do you have thermostat guys in your organization or your program? Thermostat guy. They can take kind of a heat check. Where are we? Where are we today? And the other thing is, do you have antenna guys? Antenna guys to me are like a trainer. You maybe see something cropping up because his antennas are always out. And he can alert you as a coach or a coaching staff. Hey, be alert for this. So clutter-free. Next one, create your own balance sheet with your practices. You know, where are you? We'll occasionally go back and check. Hey, you know, we're talking about all this defensive stuff, but 70% of the last 7 practices has been offense. Create your own balance sheet just so you have checks and balances with yourself. Another docism. 2 people who can't have a bad practice. Head coach, best player. So what's that? Oh, 2 minutes and 12:30. Oh, I agree. And then you've got one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Just want to keep track of the time. John Grudenism. The drills you do in practice should show up in a game. The drills you do in practice should show up in a game. Let me tell you one surefire way to express to the world that you're a very bad coach. When you make this statement, another John Grudenism, you're in the press conference, you say, well, we're going to get back to the fundamentals this week. Where did they go? Where did they go? That's our job. Where did they go? Okay? So why don't we just say to you, just know up in Boston, Doc and I are going to be laughing our butts off when we see that comment. Right? Coach in absolutes through your first game, up until your first game, then start tweaking. Coach in absolutes. No, this is the way we're doing it. It has worked. It has stood the test of time. We believe it. We are doing this absolutely this way. Then tweaking. Do you have a what-if coach on your staff? Next bullet, I'm sorry. Do you have a what-if coach on your staff? Someone who can go up to you and say, well, that's good, we're all set for our game plan, but what if this happens? What if Eric Spoelstra changes his lineup and goes 5 smalls? By the way, I know all of you did this. I know it. You all did what I did. About 3 weeks after the finals in the NBA, I had about 24 articles on Pat Riley and his thoughts on what happened. One of the things he said is interesting. One of the trends in the game. It's gone from traditional lineups to small lineups. And he thinks maybe the next trend is no position lineups, which is what they went to some. 5 of their best players on the floor at the same time. Okay? So what if, Doc, Eric goes to 5 smalls? Do we play chicken? We call it chicken. We stay big, see if we can beat you with our big against your smalls, then it's chicken on him. Okay? 12:30, by the way. It's 12:30. I wish I had a flight because this is getting boring for me. No. This is another Longoism. Another Longoism. Let the plan fail you. Don't fail the plan. That's about our scouting. Guys, don't make something up. We have a plan. Let the plan fail you. Don't you fail the plan. So also tell me when it's 10 minutes left. Okay? All right. Is it good for the staff or good for the team? Is it good for your staff or good for your team when you make your decisions to run them more? To practice 3 more hours? To me, it's a decision of what are you doing? Are you covering your ass or killing their legs? And which is more important to you? This is a docism. Pre-game talk, no halftime talk. We weren't playing well. We thought because it said Boston on our jerseys that the fans are supposed to get in the game and that the other team is supposed to give in. It doesn't work that way. You know that in your leagues. Toughest league in college basketball? I'm going to tell you, toughest league in college basketball, by far, is the one you're in. It's not the ACC, it's not the Big Ten, it's the one you're in. Okay? So halftime, we're not playing well. We're getting like, yeah, there's no energy in the building. Doc has a statement, he says, applause waits for success. Applause waits for success. The message there is, no. It's not on them to get us through this. It's on us to get them involved. Bobby Knightism. I'm going to have to read this because it's not committed to memory just yet. You must be a creative master of overkill. Basically gets to repetition. But as we know, repetition can lead to boredom. And boredom usually leads to a little bit less efficiency, a little bit less effort, etc., etc., etc. So be a creative master of overkill. Maybe a different drill that works on the same skill or part of the game that you want to work on. We believe this, not sure how you believe. Once practice starts, our players need to know this, everything counts. Everything counts. This angle of the swing, it counts. The timing of this cut, it counts. Once practice starts, everything counts. Great thing to say to your team and your players. The best teams see the whole floor, the whole game. The best teams see the whole floor, the whole game. Now, for sure, the best point guards do that. They see, or say it this way, the entire floor, the entire game. The entire floor, the entire game. So let me ask you this as a coach, because I know I've been there. I'm about to make a decision in the game when I was a head coach, and there's that little fear factor going on in my head. You know, the what if game. So, in your mind, who wins? Doubt and fear, or belief and knowledge? Okay, I know it works, I really do. And I believe it strongly. So that's going to overcome doubt and fear. Right? Again, for maybe the younger coaches here, speaking of fear, I know if you were like me when I was entering the profession, I always feared the consequence of failure. I always feared the consequence of failure, and sometimes still do today, if I was totally honest with you. I fear the consequence of failure. But I turned the corner a number of years ago, when I actually even went into the NBA and a little bit before that, where I started to think, okay, if I'm going to fear the consequence of failure, then I owe it to myself to give an equal amount of fear to the consequence of never trying. The consequence of never trying. Because if I let my fear take over and, well, I don't know the NBA game, then I would have never gotten in the NBA. Right? So what I said is, well, what happens if I try and I'm good at it? Which I don't know if I am or I'm not. Right? But the fact of the matter is I'm still employed, so it must be okay. Right? So just kind of think about those two things. Enough said on that. A few more things, and then we'll wrap it up. With players, I was about to say number one. I always do that. So I don't know what number I'm on. Right? Are you a couldn't or wouldn't? Right? If you couldn't do it, maybe we can correct that. If you wouldn't do it, maybe we should help you go somewhere else. Okay? Championship teams can pass three things: mad, sad, and hard. Mad, sad, and hard. And if we think about those three words, mad, more times than not, is probably some type of kind of chemistry thing. I'm mad at somebody else. I'm mad he's getting more minutes. I'm mad you got to get over mad. I'm mad I didn't get over mad. Sad. Sad. That's that guy, we won the game, he's sad because he didn't get his points, shots, touches, rebounds, etc. That's selfish. Sad to us usually means selfish. And hard, I mean, to be the best, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, it's not easy to be Kevin Garnett, to go out every single day and do what he does to prepare his body, his mind, and his skills for the game. It's hard. You know, you take a Tony Dungy, he's speaking now. There's 7 million speakers in the world. And he keeps getting booked. It's hard. It's hard. Get past hard. For all coaches, Someone that, Murray Arnold, some of you may know Murray, he had a great line one time. He says, you know, whenever you're in a job that deals with people, and more importantly, deals with people who are above you, budget your bitches. Budget your bitches. Then maybe you don't get upset if the color pen you got was blue instead of green. You know, I Googled it the other day. There's more people, you're allowed to go out and buy your own pen. So don't go to them with that. Right? Budget it with your team. We think the four most important things that coach controls, he must control. Number one, the system we employ. Doc controls that. Number two, the culture with which we operate. We control setting it, everyone controls executing it. Number three, for most of us, the players on your team. And that gets to maybe what Jeremy Foley was talking about. You know, it may not be the right fit. And number four, the preparation you put in. Those are four things for sure we would like to control. Now you can throw in some other things, but part of what I'm doing today is getting maybe you to think a little bit about some things. You assistant coaches in here, or for the head coaches, it's a great line. You know, everyone says, well, gosh, people always say, well, you're a great assistant. It's basically saying you want a very good head coach. I get it. But one of the things I do, if I am that, is I think at game time, and at practice time for that matter, there's emotion and there's evaluation going on. And I think good assistant coaches should be 90% evaluation, 10% emotion. My friends back in Richmond, Virginia don't need to see me getting up when we're on ESPN or TNT or wherever else we're on. We're on a lot. So that they can see that I'm an assistant coach with the Boston Celtics doing all this stuff. All right? Actually, what I have to do more of is the things they don't see. Doc, everyone's tired. People say, why do you always have this with your hand in front of you? It's actually on purpose. I don't think it's my job to have everybody in the arena know, hey, Doc, you know, Kevin wanted me taken out of the game. Oh, those people in that stand can see us a little bit better. Right? No, that's not my job. My job is to evaluate, suggest, and then be quiet. That's my job. Assistant coaches, another one of our jobs is always asking our head coach, what can I take off of your desk that you either don't feel like doing, don't want to do, or you know it's going to be like a pain in your butt to do it. Give that to me. Some of you will have teams where you know going into that season, the only one who would beat you is you. So just an idea to throw out at you. Consider the first team meeting you have, giving them a schedule. Let's take the Celtics. November 1st, Boston versus Boston, home. November 3rd, Boston versus Boston, home. November 5th, Boston versus Boston in Miami. November 9th, Boston versus Boston in Philly. You get my point. Right away, your message has been sent. Obviously, if it's in Miami, we're playing Miami. But the one we're really playing is ourselves. Competing against ourselves, because chances are we will beat ourselves possibly more often than that opponent will beat us. It's a great visual. The dreaded S's. The dreaded S's. Shots. Stats. Starter. And in our case, salary. Oh, maybe, I don't know, all the stuff I heard last night, maybe even the college level salary. I don't know. All right? But you've got to eliminate those S's. They're going to kill you. The only S they should be worried about is success. That's it. Of course, we can get those one more time. No. Yes. Shots. I just want to see if people listen. Stats. starter, whatever else you want to add there. It may be the word shit, and that encompasses all the other stuff that's going on in their life. Seriously. Okay, I'm going to end with this. I don't know if it's any good. I just thought of it this morning. But I think a lot about, have I placed limits on myself in this field, in this profession? All right? Have we placed limits on our players? So I really do not have this committed to memory. It was just written today at Starbucks. Okay? Before I saw you, Coach. Okay? What's got to be this? Be lifelong learners. Be lifelong learners. Probably a lot of you know that I read a lot. People always say, well, what do you read? Everything. And I read 2 hours a day minimum. And then they always ask me that question, well, how can you find 2 hours in your day? And my simple answer every single time is, how can I not? How can I not? If I want to improve, if I want to stay relevant, if I want to get the next job, I better read about what that job entails. And we go on and on. Okay, how can you not? I Googled this last night. Believe it or not, there's 24 hours in a day. And I found out there's at 4 a.m. So there's time. There just has to also be moments. Okay? So, it goes like this. And this is something for your players. Like your good player, that asshole they were talking about, that statement you may want to make is this. Because assholes usually think they're better than they are, therefore they think their future holds a higher place than you think. So they want to get there, right? So I've said this to a few players throughout the course of my time with them. If the mental could ever meet the physical, you got a chance to get where you want to go. The mental's holding you back right now. Attitude, preparation, diet. If the mental ever met the physical and caught up with the physical, holy heck. Then I agree with you, Johnny. You can be what you want to be. But it's not there yet. So, it goes like this. If you change your habits, you can change your limits. If you change your limits, you can change your life. If you change your life, you can always become what you wanted to be. If you change your habits, you can change your limits. Hey, you may be able to get all those personal accolades you've been going after, but your habits are keeping you from you're limiting yourself. Right? If you change your habits, you'll change the limits you put on yourself. If you change your limits, it's amazing what happens. It changes your life. And if you change your life, wow, it's amazing what happens. You have a chance to become what you've always dreamed of becoming. Okay? Now, everyone has an important date in their life. Some of you have heard me speak, have heard me say this when I speak. Does anyone know the significance of October 7th, 2035? That ain't really right. Well, you shouldn't. It only has significance to me. October 7th, 2035 is the day the insurance companies have told me I'll be dead, based on life expectancy charts. So I don't have long. So Slice and I were talking about this earlier. People say, well, you give a lot to the game. Well, I don't have long. So don't try and figure out my age, right? So when it turns and you get to that point where you take and hopefully you've given along the way, there comes a point where taking has to be replaced by give, right? So when all of us or all of you reach that point, you're October 7th, 2035, give back. Okay, but don't wait until the time I have. Do it before, because you never know. Last thing I'll say is this. Marky, that big 7-foot guy, taught me a lesson one day. I was at Washington State, and he was doing TV, right? And we went out and had some pizza the night before the game. He wanted to find out about our team, which didn't take long. It took about 3 seconds, right? And I started asking him questions. He did some volunteer work with kids, right? And I asked him a question. I said, Mark, I mean, what do you say? What do you do? How can you reach all these kids? And he said, no, it's not about reaching all those kids. It's about one person
reaching one kid, one time, and then set. One person mark, working with one kid, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, whatever it is, and then he's set. All right?
So that's our charge too. One experienced coach reaching one new person coming in with impact, and then maybe he set and take off on his career. Okay? Because as Pat Riley said, we're all hired to be fired. We just don't know when.